Hi, I'm Ben Duffy, and I'm the producer and director of Heartchild, and I want to talk to you a little bit about our new film, which we just finished. I feel like Heartchild is a unique film because it's a film that encompasses everything autism except for the questioning of, well, why does my child have autism and what caused it? And Chris Worley kind of shares the mentality that the first few years of your child's life go by so fast, and especially with a child who has autism, they need so much care and treatment that there really is no time to put your energy into anything else besides doing whatever it is you have to do to ensure that your child has a healthy and happy life. And I think that it was that spirit that allowed me to make a film that not only exposes an amazing organization, but allows a community of parents not to feel so isolated because they were brought together to share their pains and fears and struggles, and then of course their happiness and joys by something as out of the box as gathering at a skate park and watching your autistic kid skate. I know I met most of my friends through skateboarding, and I feel like Chris Worley successfully brought that aspect of skateboarding to the autism community, and it's a very, very special thing.
No desires do I hide. Not today, not today, nor for the next 1,000 lives.
I chose A-Skate because I really back the message, and it's really awesome to see the autistic children for the first time when they get on a skateboard. The smiles, the laughter, just the whole package of their excitement is what got me amped on doing this.
As a parent of a child with autism, we are thirsty for a role model in our own community. We want to have somewhere to go with ourselves, and Chris and A-Skate give us somewhere to go.
If A-Skate could reach its maximum potential, that would be establishing programs all over the world. You know, we go to California 4 times. We now have a chapter out there. The chapter is now successfully ran by people that we trust.
I work my butt off for her because she deserves it. She absolutely deserves it, and all these children deserve it. She has created this humongous family. It's incredible that one person can do that.
The Hawaiians call it fate janagi. It took us this long in our lives for us to cross paths and to make things happen.
Here they are on a skateboard. They're in motion. If a child is on a skateboard and they allow you to come and hold them and guide them, it's a wonderful offering in terms of their own sensory integration as well as their socialization.
I thought it was important that the industry support these people. They are doing a good thing. As big as skateboarding gets, we are our own isolated community, and when you see somebody else on a skateboard, that's family, you know, and you're supposed to take care of family.
I would like for this to be used as a real resource for children and families with autism.
I definitely feel honored to be able to make this film, and I can't wait to share it with the world.
Hi, this is Ken McCarthy from the Real Food Channel, and we like to focus on health and all the things that people can do to improve their health and safeguard their health and develop their health and also help others. And we also like to talk about some of the challenges that are out there to our health, contaminants, environmental pollutants, and things like that. And today, though, we have a really wonderful, exciting story that I want the whole world to know. It's a film called Heartchild, and it was made by Ben Duffy, and it's about the work of Chris Worley. And this is such, as you're going to see when we get talking, this is an amazing story on so many different levels. Number one, it focuses on a segment of our population that's taking a really hard hit from our contaminated society, and that would be the autistic children of America and the world. It's also sheds a light or casts a light on the heroic efforts that people are making to help these children and help them have great lives. And this is not an easy thing. And it also happens to be a magnificent film. It's just something really wonderful. Again, it's called Heartchild. We are fortunate today that we have the filmmaker and the subject of the film together on the telephone with us, and we're going to talk with them about the film. So welcome, Ben, and welcome, Chris.
Hi.
Hello.
Good to be here.
Hello.
So I'm going to cut to the chase. I'm going to amaze and astound people who aren't aware of Chris's work and don't know about A-Skate, the A-Skate Foundation. I think everybody at this point is familiar with the growing incidence of autism. It is a very difficult thing to deal with. There is a spectrum, and it can be extremely, frankly, disabled children that can't speak, can barely function on any level, and then you can have folks who you'd never know that they were on the spectrum. And so it's a large spectrum of people. And Chris's son, who we're going to be talking about, who's the subject of this film, is on that spectrum. And Chris made an amazing discovery, and we're going to talk about how she made it, and then how she made this solution or this help into a thing for hundreds and hundreds of families. Chris made the amazing and counterintuitive discovery that skateboarding is a tremendous benefit to children who have autism. And people may say, "My God, how could that be? Skateboarding's so hard, and this, it sounds crazy." But if you see the film, you're going to see that seeing is believing. And we're going to talk a little bit. I do have a training in neuroscience, and I do understand why the unique challenges that skateboarding provides the children can actually help them integrate themselves sensorily. So this is something that makes scientific sense. Chris, how did you come upon this seemingly crazy idea, which happens to work beautifully?
Well, during a time in our life where Sasha was still receiving hyperbaric treatments, we were locally in a town called Homewood that had these huge H-spot chambers. And if you don't know what that is, it basically enforces Henry's law. Gas under pressure turns into liquid, so that it allows the blood vessels to absorb oxygen, which creates new capillary growth. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay. So basically it heals the brain for those who are like, huh? What? So during that time of our lives, we were here locally in Homewood, and he was receiving these hyperbaric treatments, and he would go twice a day, and we would have about a 4.5 to 5 hour time span between each dive, which is what each treatment is called. And at the time, we lived like 40 minutes away, so we would find something. I found this little skate park that used to be in this town. It's not there anymore, and he would just watch the kids skate instead of going and playing. And so I happened into finding a local skateboard. I bought a skateboard. I would take him to the park, hold his hand, and I didn't know what I was doing because it had been so many years since I had even stepped on a skateboard. I was probably 12 or 13. It just was an instant connection that he had, and over time, just from being at the skate park, I met more people that had skateboarding as an interactive part of their lives. So that was our first encounter with skateboarding.
Gotcha. So he saw it and excuse me.
I was saying our first encounter of skateboarding as a family, and it just kind of connecting, and I was like, wow.
So he saw it and was entranced by it, and then you took the leap and said, well, I'll get him a skateboard and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, pretty much. And so from that point, you know, we had it at home. I just noticed that anytime he was on it, there was focus happening, and I'm very consciously aware of my mommy ears, which a lot of moms who have children with disabilities can basically use a heightened sense to be able to hear what they're doing and know what they're thinking, if that makes sense. So
okay.
I guess while he would be skateboarding, it was almost as if his little spirit was up there telling me how much he loved it and how great it was for him, and he was showing me new skills that, you know, he was capable of doing, that kind of brought it all back down into reality. And I was watching him grow internally just by focusing and standing on the skateboard. It was a connection that stimulated parts of his brain that just weren't firing naturally. That movement and that connection it changed him. When you just let it flow and you just go at it and you go for it and you connect with yourself, that is where the skateboarders get the most motivation. But children with autism had a hard time connecting with self. So when we connect them with another human being who is teaching them, that teaches their self those skills as well. So it's all a parallel. They learn to connect with their inner self and think things through. I remember the time when I really paid attention to Sasha at a skate park and what he was doing. And he was locking eyes with the other skaters that were sharing the ramp with him. And they would nod their head. And I was watching him internally connect with someone and pay attention to their body language, their eye contact, their head nod and movement. And that is a skill that he was taught by someone holding his hand and teaching him to skateboard. And that's sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry to jump in there, but you probably were about to say the same thing. For people listening to this that don't have experience with autistic children, the things that Chris is describing are miraculous.
Yeah.
Right.
Eye contact, reading other people's body cues, interacting with other people. This is not simple, trivial thing here. This is a miraculous thing.
That's simple, trivial things to people who have brains that are functioning properly. And so in the realm of autism, that's like a skill to write in the baby book. 14 or 13 years old, he finally locked eye contact, connected with social cues, observed body language, and successfully activated whatever desire it was he had going for him. So that was like beyond a milestone. It was something that a parent longs for. I think that it's really important for the parents to understand coming into an event, don't have doubt in your child, because that one-on-one interaction, that one-on-one, like, real human connection will bring their child out of their shell, and they're going to be doing things that they just didn't have faith in, and it changes you as a mother, and it changes the out view of how you look at your child's potential from there on. Like, it's really important to me that families don't limit this to just, oh, my child's going to go and experience skateboarding. That's cool. It changes you internally through the process of everything you're going to experience.
Gotcha. Just to get the chronology, so you were going with Sasha to the hyperbaric chamber. You need to kill time in between sessions. He was more interested in watching the skateboarders than playing. You said, well, I'll just get him a skateboard and see what happens. So what happened between, and he embraced it, he was like, okay.
Yeah. So he was 5 years old at that time, and his brother had either just turned 3 or was turned, I don't know what, they were ages 3 and 5 officially. I get confused whether he was 2 or 3, but he was 3. So Sasha was 5, brought a skateboard home. He enjoyed it at the skate park. He enjoyed it at home. When he would get off of the skateboard, he would just cry about it or throw a fit or tantrum. And it wasn't one that was more behavior related. It was more of one like, I need that, Mom. Give it back. You know, so I would just push him up and down the hallway. I would do whatever I could do. Through buying him that skateboard and going to the skate park more, I just interacted with the skate culture more and was introduced to people and met people, and my life just changed from that point until the point where I was at home watching my 2 sons interact for really the first time in a real genuine way. Like, it was a struggle when Sasha was a baby and Fallon was born. It was a struggle to get Sasha to pay attention to him or to not hurt him or to interact. And there were times throughout the years that, you know, he would have small steps, but it wouldn't stick. So he would have like this time where they would parallel play playing Legos or something, but it wasn't something that was consistent. Whenever that would happen, it was like, oh my gosh, thank you guys. They just sat together and played Legos. And I can't say that happened every day like the interaction with skateboarding did. So probably a little bit of them being a little older, as well as just the connection that the skateboard provides to the brain. The boys' brotherly relationship changed to where they could parallel play, and it was consistent. And I can now take them somewhere together instead of always having to stay home because Sasha only wanted to do one thing, and Fallon would be crying about having to do this one thing in his life over and over and over and over. So, yeah, I saw the connection, and it got really deep. It's like the thought process of what skateboarding could do for autism just became really deeply embedded in my soul. And there was something about it one day where between all the people I've met and friends I've met in the skate culture, I said, why don't we just get together and invite people to come to a skate park and we'll meet them there. And so that's what we did. And at the time, texting was a thing. Most people had BlackBerries, and iPhones and smartphones weren't as evolved as they are today, so message boards at the time were up. There were a lot of mom autism message boards out there at the time, and so I would post, and I would also email and reach out to local autism organizations, and they would just send some flyer we would make and send it out, and people would show up. So that went on for a while, like maybe a year or a year and a half, where it wasn't even a thing. It was just a thought, and a thought blossoming into reality. And from there, I saw that there was just this need. There was a need not just within the South or throughout a few states, but there was a need globally, an awareness of a way that parents could connect their child's brain to firing in ways that are similar to what occupational therapy does and physical therapy does. And for parents like me who aren't blessed with finances being unlimited or, you know, good credit or whatever the situation is, it's really hard for parents to just get out there and help their children. I mean, we're tired. It's nonstop. It's like having a toddler your whole life.
Huh.
There may be different stages of progression, and there's usually some type of regression trying to work its way in every time you progress in something. And I think that this can apply to anyone under almost any situation. But when you have autism linked or any kind of special needs linked, it's heightened. All of the things and challenges are heightened, but so are the progressions. Because when they make that eye contact or they say those words or they're initiating conversation or wanting to be in social situations at that point, that progression it defeats what was holding them down. and you can hold on to that through skateboarding. And it doesn't mean that the kids have to go and be pros or even ever stand up on their own. Like, they need connection, human connection. And the more you give it to them, the more independent they're going to become. So connecting is the key. And connecting in a genuine way with an open heart is the key. It heals. And we hope to be able to expand to some new places. Vans is having, what is it called? They're having like their Showdown, I think, tour. There's some tour that we're doing with them in 2020, and we're going to China and Canada, potentially Canada, France, and somewhere in the United States. I don't know. So it's really exciting to see that come about, and I'm hoping that in the interaction with all of that, we can help other people within that community grow their own organization versus just having an A-Skate only program out there. Maybe an A-Skate core ambassador, and they can share the love and grow something new. So there are so many new things happening too that are really exciting, and we have a new partnership. It's a collaboration we're doing with Vans, where we have kids' shoes and some apparel and stuff like that coming out too. So that'll be in spring 2020. So who knows what the potential is for all the different little seeds that are being planted.
That's great. And how can people find out more about the foundation? What's the domain, the website address?
So the website is just simply askate.org. So the letter A, the word skate.org.
Great. And I'm going to encourage everybody to go to askate.org, because we've only just scratched the surface of all this. And at askate.org, you can get the film Heartchild, which I strongly recommend, really strongly recommend that everybody get. You probably know people for whom this would be a very important film for them to see. You may even be thinking of them right now. This is a good thing to do, to get this film in your hands and let other people see it and see the work that A-Skate and Chris and all the volunteers all over the world are doing in this. Chris, we've been talking about A-Skate and the work you and your community did to start this movement that's now all over the world and has affected thousands of children and their families. But the other part of the movie is that, well, I mean, to put it bluntly, you weren't physically well. You had a lot of severe physical challenges. Could you talk a little bit about that and how you kept going in spite of all the physical challenges?
Yeah, so when I was born with a heart condition, well, several. I was born with ventricular septal defect, atrial septal defect, and mitral valve prolapse. And in 1982, they were not doing as many invasive surgeries on newborns, and they did not see that it was necessary at that time. It would be more dangerous to do the surgery versus monitoring me until I was old enough to have it, according to them at that time. Things have changed. But by the time I was 23 years old, I had my first open heart surgery, and then from that point in 2005 up until now, I've had 11 non-elective surgeries for many different things. 3 on my back from just, a more aggressive genetic form of degenerative disc disease, but like really bad, to the point of 3 surgeries. And it just became unbearable to even walk at one point, because I was having to travel so much, come home, not resting, not taking care of myself, not eating healthy, in difficult, challenging relationships with different people, and everything was just affecting my health. Like, everything was. And for some people, it breaks them down mentally, in a mentally ill way. For some people, it breaks them down in a way that they are faced with addiction. And in my situation, it broke down, and my body received it in a way that was very rapidly breaking my body down, basically. So with that, I had, and during my first open heart surgery, they give a medication called heparin to push blood clots through when you're under surgery like that and you're basically living off of machines breathing for you. But the heparin that my body received was way more than my body was able to process, I suppose. And it caused microbleeds on the brain, which is a form of hemorrhaging on the brain, which we all know that affects your brain cells. And so over time, up until 2 years ago, 2017, I finally saw doctors who were like, yeah, this is connected to that surgery. You've had all this brain and memory issue challenges happening because all of these years you've been taking medications that thin your blood and cause more microbleeds on your brain. And so it's just, the list goes on. Surgery on my hands, a random part in my body ruptured. I mean, I don't even know what all has been going on over these years. It's been a blur. But trying to be a mother to my 2 children, trying to manage my friendships and relationships, and trying to run this organization as well as trying to work full-time, it just all came crashing down on me, and I collapsed. Like, everything just stopped for a while. And that ended with my last back surgery, and it took half a year to try to almost get back to normal. So.
Wow. So just for people that know the story, I think for even an able-bodied person with ample financial support, this would be an amazing accomplishment to get ASCATE off the ground and get the idea spread throughout the world and impact thousands of families. But we're talking about somebody that is working. So you work in addition. You work to support yourself, and the work that you do for ASCATE is volunteer work. Yeah.
Right.
And for many years and still today, you're also dealing with a larger collection of health problems than the average person, certainly the average person your age, faces.
Correct.
So just want to give people that perspective on this story, so they understand the full picture of what's been accomplished here and achieved here. So I want to remind everybody, go to ascate.org. We only touched the surface. We only scratched the surface of the story. Seeing the videos there will be very helpful. And I strongly encourage everybody, forget Netflix, forget Facebook, forget all this stuff. Buy yourself your own copy of Heartchild, the film by Ben Duffy. Watch it. As soon as you watch it, you're going to know exactly what you need to do next, which will probably be sharing it with other people at a minimum. So, Ben, again, thank you for making this beautiful film. And Chris, thank you. Chris, thank you for your beautiful work, and thank you for sharing this time with us and sharing your insights about things. I think I know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.